So Israel is at war, the dollar index is climbing, the US stock market is at all-time high, and I've got four black dudes behind. What's going on, guys? It's Cash Booza, and today we're going to be taking a look at the US stock market. We'll also take a look at some of the Chinese mega caps that are climbing right now, and we will take a look at some data. Let's head over to my screen and take a look at what's going on in Israel first, and this is, to mildly put it, absolutely terrifying. Take a look at this. Yeah, I wouldn't want to be there, but let's see if Mr. Trump can stop it if he is re-elected. Mr. Trump, can we stop
I see
it?
this. It's so incredible. Ding, 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 ding. Boom. Okay. Pshin, boom. Star Wars.
Mr. Trump, I think they're doing Star Wars right now. I think we better come up with some other strategy. But Israel is at war with Lebanon, and it's anybody's guess what's going to happen next. It might be a ground invasion, that's what they're saying, but it might go either way for anyone. Any geopolitical tension is going to be a reaction in the markets. But speaking of geopolitical tensions, let's take a look at some data where geopolitical tensions had risen in the past and what happened. So you see all these pink lines right here. All these pink lines are recessions. So every time something had happened, a recession was triggered. You see that the Iranian Revolution over here, and then there was the crashing. Russia invaded Ukraine, and then Israel Hamas shenanigans are taking place. And then the Israeli invasion of Hamas, and now the Israel and Lebanon war. It's a crazy time, what can I say? But look at this. The markets have always bounced back. Look at it from the 1930s. The markets have always gone up systematically, even though there were major pullbacks, even though the market had crashed multiple times, the market had always won. So I guess 401ks win in the long run, and systemic investments is always a good thing. But let's take a look at the China money supply. The M2 money supply in China is crashing. It's at all-time low, and I don't blame China for coming up with all those stimulus, because those are much needed stimulus right there. So Chinese money supply is at all-time low, and with all the exuberance that's going on in China, with all the stimulus that's pouring in to pump up the money supply, I think that this is going to be a good thing for the Chinese markets. And the FXI, we'll take a look at the FXI, the mega caps of China. They are climbing like a rocket ship. It's like a Tesla rocket that just keeps climbing and climbing. But let's take a look at some other data real quick. So Chinese commercial and residential property prices have come down in single digits for over 2 years now. And unless China decides to do something about it, which I guess they have done it technically with all the stimulus, but is that enough? I have no idea. But as long as they do something, I guess this is gonna help the property prices. But Mr. Trump, can we beat China?
What a stupid question that is. What a stupid question. But I watch you a lot. You ask a lot of stupid questions.
I guess that's a yes. With all the housing prices in the US are record highs, maybe we're already beating China, but I can't afford a house, and neither can my friends. Anyway, that's a different story, but let's take a look at some other data real quick. So Chinese consumer confidence is record low. And with all the stimulus that's pouring into China, I think that this number is set to recover a lot better from this point. So let's take a look at the mega caps of China. What's going on with all the stimulus money that's coming into China? You see that's a massive pump right there. Look at that. In 2 weeks, this thing is up. I'm going to measure that right now. How much up is this thing in 2 weeks? If you got in on this trade, congratulations, guys. This thing is up about 27% in 2 weeks and 2 days. Absolutely crazy numbers. And this is not some meme stock, by the way. This is the mega caps of China. This is the Googles and the Microsofts of China, and these are rising like rocket ships. And it just crossed the 200 period moving average on the weekly. Let's take a nicer look into that, and look at this, a clear break to the upside, and just cleared the 200 period moving average. And I think that as long as this thing can hold on the weekly, this thing is bound to recover. But let's take a look at some of the US sectors right now. So S&P 500 record highs getting rejected. It's down 1%, almost 1% today. And do I see S&P at record highs in the coming days? It's debatable, but I think that there might be some weakness on the S&P, on the Nasdaq, on the IWM, because the VIX and the dollar index are showing some critical signs in the markets, which we're going to talk about right now. So the S&P is getting rejected right now, and let's take a look at it from a daily perspective. The S&P is coming down very aggressively, and I think that the next candle on the S&P is also going to be a red candle. And the good thing is that there's a good demand zone right here. There's a lot of demand, guys, over here. So if the S&P does decide to come down, a healthy pullback, I would say about 3 to 4% is not too bad. If it decides to come down and it comes down to this box right here, I can see some structure and then maybe a leg up. But right now the S&P is selling off, and I can see a little bit more sell off on the S&P. I guess same story goes with the Qs. So the Qs are also coming down, but the Qs are already in the demand zone. Look at that. This was the demand zone on the Qs right here. So it came down and it is selling off like the S&P. But be careful, because there's a gap in the candles right here. And here's the gap. The gap fill is going to happen at 474. So if the Qs come down and it comes down and fills the gap, the 20 period moving average is also sitting on the daily, and I think that there might be some reaction to the upside. I think something like this is very much possible on the Qs. We'll take a look at the VIX. So the VIX is climbing quite aggressively. It's still below 20, but it climbed 15% today. Let's zoom in on that a little bit. So very aggressive VIX, and the volatility is spiking. It's just Tuesday. We still have Wednesday. We still have Thursday. We still have Friday. So there's a couple of days left on the trading, and this thing is still climbing. So I think that if there's volatility in the market, if tomorrow there's volatility in the market and the day after, this candle just might close something like that. We have to be careful in the markets because more sell-off is gonna come at that point. Let's take a look at my favorite, the dollar index. So yesterday we talked about the dollar index, and I said that there's a lot of trapping going on right here, and if you are long on the dollar, they are going to trap you and they are going to take all the stop losses right there, and then they're gonna pump the market back up. And that's exactly what happened. The dollar index is climbing. It's above the 20 period moving average on the daily, and I think that if this thing can hold on the weekly, this is set to return to some pretty impressive levels. But guys, please be careful. And trade with a stop loss, because I know a very nice Chinese guy and he traded without stop loss. Let's see what his reaction is. Speak English. I guess he's still trading without stop losses. I have no idea, but moving along, and let's take a look at Apple. So Apple is doing a lot of crazy things. Yesterday it was up over 2%. Today it's down about 3%. And I think that if the weakness in Apple continues, it's going to drag the entire index down. But look at this beautiful reaction of the 20. Look at that. Absolutely miraculous. Wow. It came down, tagged the 20 period moving average, and started spiking back up again. If you guys bought in at that level for a day trade, that's a fantastic day trade level. Let's take a look at Microsoft. So I know you guys are gonna hate me for Microsoft because I said that there's a demand zone on Microsoft. I guess that's why we use stop losses, but the way this nasty candle is coming, this is a little bit concerning. And I can see a little bit more selling happening on Microsoft, just a little bit more until it tags the 200 period moving average right here. And then it might chop around a little bit, and then there might be a little bit of a relief rally. A lot of this is going to depend what the index does overall and what the geopolitical tensions are in the Middle East. But as traders, we'll have to be cautious and make sure that we don't take a hit ourselves, just like those guys are taking. Let's take a look at my favorite, the gold. Look at that massive trade on gold on the weekly, all-time high. This is on a rocket ship. You think Tesla boosters are powerful? This thing is ultra powerful. I have never seen a rally that's more powerful than this. If you got in at this level, one full candle close above the 20, above the 200, and this thing just keeps pumping and pumping away. There is no technical weakness on gold, and I think that if the weakness is not there, there is just no stopping on gold, especially with all the wars that are happening everywhere. I think a lot of people are going to be heading to safety, and gold is just one safety trade right there. Keep holding it. There is no problems from a technical perspective. It just keeps climbing and climbing. Well, that's all I had for you guys today. If you guys enjoyed today's show, give me a thumbs up, subscribe to Cash Booza, leave your thoughts in the comments. I read them all, and I will see you tomorrow. You can watch my previous video right here and the one before right here, and I'm going back to the black dudes. Thank you.